During their first winter, Thomas and his family lived in a 12-foot by 14-foot dugout in a hillside near Porterville. Thomas Bruff, along with his younger brother Samuel, had begun making the first bricks in Porterville. As they had learned how to make such bricks in their native England, Thomas and Samuel and some of their sons later manufactured high-quality bricks that were used in constructing a number of buildings in Porterville, Kaysville, and other areas of northern Utah.
These two bricks that are about 3 to 4 inches thick and about 8.5 inches long were made in Porterville by William George Bruff, who is the second son of Thomas Bruff. William George Bruff was born in Longton, England in 1855 and died in Porterville in 1904.
Between 1867 and 1881, Thomas and Samuel Bruff operated the old Bruff Brickyard in East Kaysville. Today, the LDS Crestwood Ward House in East Kaysville is located on the spot where Thomas and Samuel once operated their Bruff Brickyard. While I was serving as bishop of the Kaysville 12th Ward, we had a need to build a new chapel, and we began looking for property and located the spot where this building now stands. But it was several years later that we discovered that this was the spot of the old Bruff Brickyard.
From 1877 until his death in 1882, Thomas Bruff served as the first bishop of the LDS West Porterville Ward. His wife, Jane Patterson, was a midwife and practiced nursing for 31 years in Porterville and nearby areas. Thomas and Jane Bruff had 8 children, 3 boys and 5 girls. Thomas died in 1882 and Jane in 1903. They were both buried in Porterville Cemetery, which is located on top of a hillside that overlooks part of the Morgan Valley.
Elizabeth Bruff was the second youngest daughter of Richard Bruff and Mary Horliston. She joined the LDS Church in 1847 and married Samuel Cartledge in 1852 in Staffordshire. In 1856, Elizabeth and Samuel sailed from Liverpool to Boston, and in 1857 they settled in Bethalto, Illinois. Elizabeth and Samuel were divorced in 1863. In 1864, Elizabeth married Enoch Tipton in Madison County, Illinois, and then traveled from Illinois to Utah. Elizabeth had 2 children by Samuel Cartledge and 3 children by Enoch Tipton, including William Enoch Tipton, who is shown here. Enoch primarily worked as a farmer and coal miner in Utah and Wyoming. He and Elizabeth lived in a home that once stood in front of these trees, which are located about 2.5 miles south of Randolph. Elizabeth Bruff and Enoch Tipton are both buried in the Randolph Cemetery.
Samuel Bruff was the youngest son of Richard Bruff and Mary Horliston. He joined the LDS Church in England in 1857 and married Elizabeth Bott in 1858 in Staffordshire. In 1863, Samuel and Elizabeth sailed from Liverpool to New York and then traveled to Utah. During 1864 and 1865, Samuel and Elizabeth and their children lived in a dugout in a hillside in Porterville, Utah. In 1870, Samuel went to Randolph and built a 2-room log house located near 200 North and 200 East. When his family moved to Randolph in 1871, Samuel sold his farm in Porterville to his brother Thomas Bruff.
In the 1870s, Samuel Bruff built a large brickyard in Randolph. He then made bricks for the LDS Church House, the old high school, and for most of the brick homes in Randolph. In the 1880s, Samuel built a beautiful brick home in Randolph for his wife and children, for he and Elizabeth had 11 children, 4 boys and 7 girls. Besides being a brickmaker, Samuel operated a lime kiln, was an excellent surveyor, experimented with many kinds of grass and hay seeds, and owned cattle and horses. He was also a very religious man and attended to his LDS church affairs with real dedication. Samuel and Elizabeth Bruff are both buried in the Randolph Cemetery.
The Richard Bruff Family Organization, or RBFO, is one of the oldest and largest family organizations in the world. In 1969, my father, Hiram Carter Bruff, officially started the Samuel Richard Bruff Family Organization in Utah. And in 1983, that organization was incorporated into the RBFO. During the past 40 years, the RBFO has conducted extensive genealogical and historical research on the Bruffs of Staffordshire, England, and their descendants. Today, RBFO officers and board members represent thousands of Bruff descendants living on several continents and in many nations. And the RBFO website receives over 40,000 visits a month.
Since the 1890s, Bruff family reunions have been held in northern Utah. This one was held in 1978 in Bountiful, and this one was held in 2000 in Kaysville. Several years ago, the RBFO began sponsoring international Bruff reunions, such as this one held in 2005 in Randolph and Kaysville, Utah.
In 2008, an international Bruff reunion was held in Meerbrook, Staffordshire, England. Over 100 Bruff family members and relatives from various places in Europe and North America attended this event, which featured brief historical presentations, early family documents, and great food and wonderful conversations.
As a practicing Christian and member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I believe in the eternal nature of the family and in the importance of genealogy and family history work. Also, I feel that as people gain a better understanding of the lives and trials of their ancestors, they more fully appreciate who they are and what they have, become less critical and more forgiving of others, and strive to conduct themselves in a more honorable manner, because they soon realize that no man is an island, and that how I live today may impact my posterity for generations to come.
While the doctrines of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints teach the eternal significance of genealogy work and family history, people of all faiths and walks of life can enjoy the friendship and love that comes from being involved in such work. In fact, the many different families and religious beliefs within the Richard Bruff Family Organization, the RBFO, have only added to its strength and purposes.
I hope you enjoyed this video that covered nearly 1,000 years of family history. In behalf of all the officers and members of the Richard Bruff Family Organization, I wish you the very best of happiness and success in documenting and enjoying your own family history.